and welcome to Tiger TV. I'm your host, Tony Symonds. Welcome. And today we've got one of the current players, the current Vice Captain of the Glenelg Footy Club, Mr. James Sellar. Jimmy, how are you?
Good, Simo. Thanks for having me, mate.
Great to see you, mate. Well, I was going to say it's been a great start to the year, but we'll come back to that a little bit later. I think what we should ask first, because a lot of people do want to know, where did it all start for you? I know that it started locally, but just briefly take us through your journey to get to where you have today.
Yeah, well, it started all here, Simo, for me. Started with at Glenelg Primary, just behind the oval here, and just I guess junior competitions here at Glenelg. Brighton High, just down the road as well, so very local. And yeah, I guess sort of progressed through the ranks, playing juniors out here. Right through to 13s, 15s, 17s, 19s. Was lucky enough to get picked up by the Crows. Spent sort of 4 or 5 years there. Got the flick from the Crows and re-picked up by the D's.
Mate, we've all got the flick from AFL footy clubs, don't worry about that. Just tell us quickly about that 4 or 5 years there. That must have been fantastic for your development, mate.
Yeah, it was good to stay home, stay local. Obviously, stay with family and friends, and also to be able to play for the club that I grew up supporting was very exciting. And didn't quite work out for me. I was sort of in and out of the side a little bit. The Crows had a really strong side through that little era as well under Neil Craig.
I think just looking back now, and I, as usual, haven't done a lot of homework, but I think at one stage you were definitely touted as a top 5 draft pick, if not a number 1 at some stages. Did you get injured the year before the draft or prior to the draft?
I did have a couple of little injuries with some osteitis pubis and bits and pieces like that, but I had a pretty poor under-18s carnival and perhaps slid down the draft order a little bit there. But it's just one of those things. It was a great experience for me. I really enjoyed my time in the AFL, but not everyone gets to play 200 or 300 AFL games, and I got my 44 and moved on, and you put it down to experiences, and I had a good one.
What about when you moved to Melbourne? Obviously you'd probably grown up and matured a bit by then. How did you find moving to Melbourne and settling into probably one of the bigger clubs? They weren't going great at the time, but acknowledged as one of the big clubs. That would have been good.
Yeah, it was pretty enjoyable for me. I think I hadn't been out of home or out of Glenelg really for 22, 23 years. So to sort of get away from family and friends and to I guess to develop some new networks and have some new experiences over there was really exciting. And it was probably a lot easier moving interstate at that age rather than when you're sort of 17, 18.
Definitely.
Managed to hang on for a couple of years there. We obviously didn't have a great side at the D's, but probably for me individually, I got to play a few more games and got to get a little bit more continuity.
Absolutely.
And for them, it was around the time that Mark Neal sort of got the sack from the D's. Paul Roos took over, and they cleaned out sort of 15 or 16 players all at once. And
we've all been cleaned out, so don't worry about that, Jimmy.
And I was lucky enough to get cleaned out twice. So.
Now, interestingly, you went to the Waffle, played at South Fremantle. How did that competition compare to the SANFL?
I get asked that a lot. I think it's just different styles. I think the ovals are a lot bigger. And potentially the weather's a little bit better too. It's a lot more outside, free-flowing, uncontested brand of football versus probably the SANFL and the VFL built a lot around bigger bodies, and it's a lot more of a contested stoppage brand of football. Right. So I know the Waffle and the Sandful, they have some pretty good state games, and I think potentially the Waffle have won the last couple, but I think probably the depth of the SANFL is a little bit stronger, but the Waffle do seem to attract that sort of top-end, high-end talent, and it's pretty exciting, high-scoring sort of football generally in the Waffle.
Yeah. It's been a long journey, and probably if you ever end up coaching or getting into that side of footy, it's probably going to prepare you for that, because you've had a look from a lot of different angles, a lot of different coaches. And is that something you'd like to do down the track?
Yeah, I went through and did my level 2 coaching course last year through the SNFL, which was really enjoyable. I guess you get to dabble at it a little bit as a senior player, and you try and, I guess, pass on bits of advice to other key position players or other junior players. But yeah, it's certainly something that I'd love to get into post footy.
Okay, I think we should delve a little bit more into the personal life of Jimmy Sellar now, really, because there's been a lot happening in your personal life the last couple of years. I know you got married, so to the lovely Sonia.
Yes.
And you've had your first child. Now, I've got to ask about the name. Skylar James.
Skylar James Sellar.
Which is unusual for a daughter, I would have thought. But so tell us a little bit about both of them.
Well, my wife Sonia, she's at home at the moment, sleep deprived.
How old is Skylar?
3 weeks tomorrow.
3 weeks.
She's keeping mum awake at the moment, and she's up feeding. But on the whole, she's been pretty good. She feeds well. But yeah, she's causing mum a little bit of grief at the moment. Just a little bit of sleep deprivation. But on the whole, she's been really healthy. It's been a really exciting sort of few weeks for us. And yeah, it's great to have a new addition. So
when I saw the name, I thought Jimmy Sellar's just decided whether he has a boy or a girl, he's going to be calling it Junior. So Skylar James. It's
Skylar
quite
James.
unusual.
I can't take credit for it. My wife came up with the name, but James now is a unisex name, Simo, I'm told. So.
Good idea. I must have been on another planet in the last 25 years.
But look, honoured to have my name in my daughter's name there, and
that's brilliant.
Yeah, going well.
The apple of your eye, I would have thought.
Yep, she's got us wrapped around her little finger already.
Yeah, she would have, and that doesn't change even when they're 19, let me tell you. Now, work-wise, you're working at Adelaide United.
Yep.
Tell us a bit about that, Jimmy.
Yeah, working there in business development, so looking after sponsorship and suppliers and contracts and things like that, which has been enjoyable. I started with the West Coast Fever, the ANZ Champs netball team over in WA. In a similar sort of role, so obviously moving back to Adelaide, got the opportunity to stay involved in sport. It's an enjoyable role. It's sort of the business side of sport, the other side of the fence. The A-League and soccer in Australia is a growing code, particularly at grassroots level, so there's plenty of opportunity and potential, and really enjoyed I've been there for about 18 months now, so it's been
brilliant.
Good.
It's a different world in that football environment, as they call it. We call it soccer, but it's certainly a fervent and exciting sort of game they play, and the supporters, they are rabid. Would that be the word?
They're passionate.
Passionate.
Yeah,
probably a better word.
Might be politically
better
correct.
Than rabid.
But it is. It's a multicultural game, and and it sort of is a reflection of society, isn't it? That multiculturalism's growing all the time. All over, but particularly in South Australia, it's a game for all races, all religions, both genders, with male and female. So, not plugging soccer too much, but it's certainly a game on the rise.
Most definitely, a great game. So let's come back to Glenelg Football Club. You've come back the last 2 years, and been fantastic for us. Really, you've been outstanding for us. How's it feel to come home after 5 years away, probably, or 6 years away? To come back must be just a great feeling, Jimmy. Yeah,
it's been fantastic. I think I've enjoyed the last 18 months of my football more so than probably any period of my career. I think you spend so much of your junior life, even when I was out here playing on and off out of the Crows team, you're always striving for not just team success, but individual success too, and you're always trying to put your name back up, and there's a lot of pressure associated with that, and I've been able to come back, enjoy my football. We've got a fantastic bunch of boys and men out here at the moment that are all on the sort of the same page and looking to succeed. And I guess for me, having travelled so much and played for 5 or 6 different teams, you can sort of have a semi-successful sort of career, but never really belong anywhere. And for me, this was my opportunity to come back home and and feel like I belong to the Glenelg family, and to make sure that I can at least at the end of the day stamp my flag somewhere and say that I'm a Glenelg man, and I've really enjoyed.
How many
coming
games
back.
you played now? Have to be close to 100, wouldn't
A
it?
little bit under 88.
So you get to 100, you get your name on the locker. You'll have to put new lockers in, of course, because
the
there's
new
none there
rooms.
at the moment. But I mean, that does make you feel like it's your home because you have that there forever.
Yeah.
And when Skylar's a bit older, you can take her in and show your name. So that's obviously something you want to pursue. And 100 games, you'll probably get that this year.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. Touch wood. That I'll get to that milestone. And whilst I'm probably 28, going on 58, but I feel like might have a couple of years left.
That only happens when you've had 3 weeks of no sleep with a new baby.
Right.
That'll come good, Jenny.
Yeah,
the sun will come out again at the end of the year.
That'll be nice.
And finals will be on, and I'm sure you'll come through that. But just quickly, tell us about this year. I mean, I think we all expected that it might be difficult right at the beginning. Trial form wasn't great. And to come out and beat Port and Sturt and get really close on the weekend. I mean, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but there's a bit of excitement on the hill.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a lot made of our trial game form, and while certainly you don't go into trial games expecting to lose or wanting to lose, but we were pretty clear on the areas that we needed to improve, and a lot of it was our defence, and we're also missing a couple of personnel. So it certainly wasn't panic stations internally from the results. But we've been wrapped with how we've started, particularly probably the first 2 games. I think you've seen the improvement in our team defence and a lot of the ways we're structuring up around stoppages and how we're moving the ball. To have a couple of new personnel, I think Don Barry started the season fantastically well. Liam McBean's giving us a target up forward. Marto down back is slotted in as a younger player, and his composure is well above his years.
We seem to have a little bit of experience now as well around the place, which just seems to settle things down when things get a bit tight, like they did against Port. Everyone was waiting for him to come back. We just had enough experience, including yourself, to be able to just hold it together, which is important. Yeah,
I think if you look at probably the core group of guys, particularly probably around our midfield and our defence, they have been around probably for 4 or 5 years at least at Glenelg, and some of them have played footy elsewhere as well. So that certainly helps. Whilst we had a bit of a slip up on the weekend, and it's going to be for us about consistency. We know our best is very good, but it's about sort of replicating that week after week, quarter after quarter, to make sure that we're at that level that is going to be competitive and ultimately successful for us.
Brilliant. And I think everyone agrees that we're playing a fantastic brand of football. Like, it's exciting to come down here. I was even talking to some people who saw Saturday's game against South, who said the game of footy, particularly in the last quarter, obviously, was just brilliant to watch. And sometimes in the AFL it's a bit clinical, whereas out here there's a bit more go and play your own style of football and try and win the game. And getting inside through that corridor there, Port and Sturt, we just opened the game up, and certainly standing up here, it was exciting to watch. Yeah,
absolutely. I think we're playing a brand of footy now, and we have an internal belief within the team that we can win it from anywhere. And obviously on the weekend we don't want to get 5, 6, 7 goals down at 3/4 time, but we have a game plan that when it clicks and we are on top, that we can score heavily and we can score quickly. So it's exciting to be able to have that in your arsenal, that you're never out of a game. But as I said, we want to be consistent with our actions and consistent with our processes, and make sure that's not.
Now, one quick question before I let you go. Now, I've seen you play a lot of footy over the years, had a bit to do with you. I still think you're a very good ruckman at times. Is there any opportunity this year we'll see you rucking? Because particularly your work behind the play, the kick behind, kick and a half behind, you always read it as well as anyone, even at a young age. Any likelihood we'll see you there at any stage? Warren McGinty could go down to centre half back or full back.
I'm sure if you asked Warren McGinty, he would jump at the opportunity to go and have a run around down back and swap. But look, I won't say it won't happen because with injuries and things like that. But I'm very happy playing across the back line. We've got a good group there. I feel like I've done my time in the ruck, and perhaps a little bit old now to be running around in there. But look, ultimately it's just about playing where the team needs me and fulfilling the roles that need to be done.
That's a beautiful answer.
I'm sure there'll be a time that I need to go in there, but
Matty Lockham's going to be watching this. He's going to love hearing you say that. Play your role for the team.
Won't be very often.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Jimmy? It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks
You've
for having
been
me.
really fantastic for us, particularly since you come back. It's been a wonderful career, and we know that next couple of years, hopefully, you're going to get a reward for all the work you've done previously, and particularly this year, Jimmy. Enjoy it.
Thanks,
all
mate.
The
Good
best.
on you. Thanks.
Good on you, mate.